Hello, namaste, good morning. Actually, it's evening time, but still I'm saying good morning because you might be seeing this anytime. With you, I'm just referring to myself because maybe nobody will see this video, but I'm gonna do it. So let's start. Okay, so the plan of today is to simply explain you about the first chapter of the book Flamingo of Class 12 English in CBSE syllabus. So, the first chapter's name is The Last Lesson. Yeah, you are understanding how ironic it is? Like, the first lesson is called The Last Lesson. So, let's keep the joke aside. So, the last lesson doesn't really referring to a lesson. It has something more carry than that. The last is referring to the ultimate. Like last is referring to the final or the conclusive chapter, and the lesson is referring to the lesson of not only French class but also bigger lesson for patriotism. This chapter is mostly based on patriotism as well as the value of the language that we speak. Like I'm using English to communicate. I can also communicate in Hindi. I can also communicate in Nepali. So these are languages, and until and unless we know the importance of them, we are safe, independent. But if we forget them, we cannot communicate with anyone. Like we will just be thrown out to the millions of years back where people's like, ooh ha, they couldn't talk to each other, they couldn't communicate, they couldn't cooperate. So this is what the last lesson means. I'm sorry for getting it too long, but still. Now let's start the discussion. So, this is a story of a young boy, Franz. He's like a middle schooler, I guess. And today, our little Franz got late for school. He just maybe woke up late and he was just rushing, like running and running to reach the school as fast as possible. But the pathway was very tempting. Like there was a bright light coming, warm sunlight in the winter morning. The birds were chirping. It was a beautiful sound. A beautiful scenery was visible, and the voice of the Prussian soldiers drilling. Drilling means like marching, like the armies do that, right? So the Prussian soldiers were marching and drilling there, and he was so distracted by it. He was so tempted to like bunk the school for it. Let's not go there. But our little Franz had this ability to resist that temptation, and he just rushes out to school. At at his uh, at his journey to the school, he just found out a man who was a blacksmith. His name was Foster. So he was looking at the bulletin board. The watcher was looking at the bulletin board, and the bulletin board was the board that has given them so many bad news during the season of war. Like this was a time of like war, and Germany and France was like fighting against each other. They were the armies were depleting down. They were dying there, and reinforcement was needed. So the information about the drafts. You know what draft is? Draft means the during the time of wars, if the army supply got low, that means if many people of army die, then the government create a system of draft. And draft It's the process of recruiting the normal civilians to go fight for their nation during the scarcity of soldiers. So that's what draft is. So the news of drafts, the bad news like who's winning, how many soldiers died, what is the condition at the borders, and how many of our land area was captured. These all informations were uh, there in bulletin board. And today, Washington was saying, "Don't worry, don't worry, you little France. You won't get late." And by this sentence, he meant something different. He was just France was thinking that he must have been trolling him or like teasing him for him being late. So let's get back to the France. The France was just running and running, and he was just thinking that he was just counting on the commotion. Commotion means like the sound noise that the children create at the school. Commotion means like huge great noise, random noise, like the benches being slammed by students, the chanting of alphabets there, and many more, like pure destruction type of noises. That's called commotion. He was counting on it that if there was a commotion, I will just sneak in and just get into the seat before anyone knows. But unfortunately, France was caught, and because that day everything has to be as quiet as a Sunday morning. This means that it was as quiet as a holiday as nobody was there. It was so quiet. His plan was so spoiled now. Now he had to face the truth. He saw M. Hamel. M. Hamel was a very strict and old teacher. He was there for almost like 40 years. He was a pretty experienced teacher. He was holding an iron ruler, and Franz was really freaked out. But after collecting so much patience and like after collecting so much patience and courage, sorry, not patience, courage was the right terminology. So after collecting all that courage, Franz just entered the room of Mehmet. Everybody was silent. He just was there. He was blushing. He was so frightened that he would have that M. Hamel would punish him so bad that he's gonna cry. And then M. Hamel just simply said, "Just come in, Franz. We were gonna start without you. We were going to start without you. I'm glad you came. Go, just quickly rush to your seat." Then Franz was like shocked. He just ran and hopped to his seat right away. He didn't notice anything. But when he was seated there, he noticed that M. Hamel was wearing a very, very special uniform. He was wearing a coat and a cap which was embroidered, which he only used during a special occasion in the school. Like in the special contest or like programs, he used to wear that. It was a special dress, but he was wearing it today. So he wondered what's wrong with him. He was acting so calmly. He was wearing his special uniform. Then he noticed that villagers were sitting in the back seat. He was like, "What is this?" Like old Hauser was a person in the village, mayor, and other villagers. These people were sitting behind at the back seats. He was so shocked and so confused. Why? Hauser was carrying his old primer. Primer means the books that we used to read during the primary school, like the books of alphabets. It was thumbed at the edges. Thumbed at the edges means if you thumb like this in the book, like this is the book, if you thumb it like this, then it will fall off. It was so old that if you just Press it with your thumb, it will break out. It was so old of a book. Then, what happened next is M. Hamel started talking. He says, "So, students, today is your last French lesson, and from tomorrow, a teacher from Germany will come. So, I hope you all be attentive in today's class." These words were like a thunderclap for him. Literally, France was so bad at studies, and he was not interested at all. He didn't even learn how to speak and write French too much by now. It's just it's just too unpredictable. Like he could not even think about it. He didn't even know how to write the language, and here is the last lesson. Like it's all over. Now you will never have to read the French language again. This was very, very shocking for him. Although he didn't knew, he he didn't completed the homework of learning the participles. But still, the books of history, the books of grammar, they felt like old friends to him, like which he could never leave now. They were like, even though he didn't wanted to learn them, but he still had a connection with them. Maybe because he was a Frenchman. Yeah, maybe because he has something of a patriotism inside him. That's why. So, what MML said is, look, what MML said is he brought a new copy for everybody, new notebooks. He distributed all new notebooks with everybody, and he said, fill all the pages with French, with writing France. Oops, I think I missed something. Yeah, sorry. Before this thing, MML started teaching the laws of participles, rules of participles. So he was just, uh, what you say, making each one of the students one by one stand up and narrate the rules. And it was a turn of our little France. He made France stand up. He said, just narrate it. He couldn't even read a single letter properly. He was so frightened that MML would be so angry on him. But MML again calmly said that I won't beat you, France. You must have already feeling so bad right now. Like this really made France think about it. MML again added that it's not only you who is guilty, it's all of us. Every single every single person who lives in Alsace and Lorraine are responsible for this miserable condition of you. And why is that? He started explaining that when it was your turn to come to school, your parents would like you to go to farm to gain to earn some extra money. It's their fault. Even MML, he often he often assigns France to water his plants instead of studying. MML often take holidays when he wanted to go fishing and give them a and don't teach them. That also counts. These peoples were sitting at the back. They did not even learn how to write French. They were not serious at all. It's not only one person, it's everybody's fault. And that's why France didn't knew how to learn the laws of participle. So this made everyone think about it, and they all had a little bit of regret. For sure. Now it's time. He distributed everybody with a notebook. He gave everybody pen, and he just said, the only thing you have to do is write Alsace France. They all started writing Alsace France, Alsace France, Alsace. Everybody was so focused, like very attentive in doing their work, that they didn't even notice bumblebees. Like some bumblebees were entering the class and going out of the classroom. They didn't even notice it. Do you wonder how focused they were? They were just jotting. They were just jotting the two words, Alsace France, and the France. F, like F. The F felt like fishing hook. He, the France, sees F of France like fishing hook. Like it goes like this, right? F. So this looks like a fishing hook to him. Everybody's writing, and it was so pin drop silence that only the voice of the paper and the pen, like this, only this sound was audible there. Nothing else. Could you imagine? It was almost like flags were flying in the air. It was so awesome. It was so full of patriotism, so full of love and respect towards their motherland. That's what it was. After that, M. Himmel added a thought. He said, we are all guilty for it. Now we cannot even say something if Germans come and say, you call yourself a Frenchman and you don't even know how to read and write your own language? What kind of Frenchman are you? Could you imagine how embarrassing it is? As well as, it was so horrifying that France even imagined that after hearing the pigeon coo, he imagined that would the Germans made the pigeon also coo in German. Like he was so scared of the change that he will be seeing after the British come here. He was so terrified by the idea of it. He thought that they will be so strict that even they made the pigeon coo in German. So this was it. MML said the only key to escape from a rule for the people living inside it is get a hold of their their culture, their traditions, their language, everything that makes them their identity. For a nation, for a community, for a Frenchman, French language was an identity, and they should get a hold of it, even though they know a very little part of French. Even though MML tried to give it all, like literally, that man had served like for 40 years in that school. The vine that it grew has climbed up to this far. The tree that he grew had become a huge in habitat for birds. That man must have been feeling so bad right now. So after so much experience, he did try to give it all, like give all he knew in one go. Even Franz, who never understood a single chapter of French, was like really amazed about how amazingly he's getting things now. Maybe it's because previously neither Franz had intent to learn the language uh, this strongly, and nor M. Hamel had enough or this extreme urge to give him an understanding of the topic until now. So that was it, and finally he saw M. Hamel's sister carrying their luggages because they had to go from the country, leave the country now. So M. Hamel was trying to say something, but he got emotional. He couldn't say it. Then he picked up a chalk, turned to the blackboard, and as big as he could, he wrote a line: Vive la France, which means long live France. And this is how this chapter has become the last lesson of not only the French language, but it has become the ultimate lesson of patriotism that M. Hamel had given to his students, to the people of Alsace and Lorraine. So, this was the first chapter of English Flamingo book. Thank you for listening. Bye bye. See you in the next chapter.